Friends, today we're going to preach about Magneto. Now I'm going to go over his gear real quickly first, and then we're going to go into the build that I'm not using, which is the one that you see right now, and then switch over to the build that I am using, which I think is a little bit more viable. I don't know. So let's start off with real quick. Blessed Hand of Doom. I like this item on him. It has all the stats that he needs. I'm picking it right now because it has the Brutal Strike rating, but given the choice, I think the good option is Sabertooth's Furry Mantle, because you do have a bleed that you apply, and Mental Focus Headband because it increases your power radius. It also has a lot of intelligence on it. If you notice, it actually has more intelligence on it than you're getting here from your intelligence and energy combined from Blessed Hand of Doom. So take your pick on that one. Black Tom Shillelagh, good item, has health on it, has stats you need. Deflection is very good on him. He's kind of squishy. You're playing a balancing act between defense, health, deflect, and the damage that you do. I'm using Dark Dimensions Medallion. It kind of hurt him after he was changed from durability intelligence to energy intelligence, but I still have it. It's nice. It has good crit damage. Cyclops was right t-shirt, great. Magneto was right t-shirt, great. I'm using Cosmic Control Rod. I think it's better than the bow. He doesn't really need, as far as I can tell, really doesn't need attack speed. He has plenty of attack speed. You can get that from Infinity Points maybe. If you're using this build, Shrapnel Barrage already does a lot of attacks per second. Maybe you can get an extra attack in there. That's pretty much all you get. Otherwise, if you're using the other build and you're using Compressed Shrapnel, which I'll show you, the amount of attack speed you're getting isn't very substantial at all. You really don't need to stack attack speed on him all that much. Other than that, the big note here is using Coat of the Skrull instead of Mantle of Fortress X. There's a little bit more survivability on the mantle than there is on the coat. Coat has more damage. Coat has Brutal Strike rating. Right now I'm picking the Brutal Strike rating. Other than that, looking pretty good. Let's talk about his powers here. So this is the build that I'm not using, but I think it's pretty interesting, and I think it's viable. It's definitely more single target centric. I'm using an AoE build, so every power I have does area of attack damage. I think that's, I don't know, I find that to be more fun right now. Let's talk about this one, and talk about why this one works and why certain variants of it don't, and I'm not entirely happy about it. I'm picking Dense Debris Fields. The only other option here, well, for survivability, Reflexive Barrier, it's nice. Run Through gives you Impale with Iron. I'm not using Impale with Iron. I'm not buffing it with Super Compression. I'm kind of using a spending build, so I mean, I could use this, but it's just the whole keeping it over 500 debris thing that's, I think, hurting and limiting the damage that this build is doing. Scrap Saw, I'm experimenting with it. I really like Scrap Saw. It does a lot of damage. This is one of pretty much his biggest damage skills if you can pull it off. You see, even Impale with Iron, I mean, it's 100,000 shrapnel. Compressed Shrapnel is 40,000. You know what? Yeah, it's pretty good, and you get to fire off 4 of these, and they come back, so they do double. They do damage going out and they do damage coming back, so you get double the damage that you're seeing on here. It's very, very good. And as you can see, the charges restore faster if you're collecting debris. So this build pretty much focuses on throwing a lot of debris on there and then picking it all up and trying to get that back. Waste Knot, it works. One of the problems I was having with this build, and the reason why I'm using Shrapnel Barrage, is because I'm having a really hard time spending all my debris. And if you don't spend your debris, you're not collecting debris, and that's a bit of a problem for this build. Overwhelming Force, I really like this skill. I just can't figure out how to use it. Basically what it does is it changes Wrecking Ball to throw 3 projectiles instead of 1. I think that's great because you're getting area damage on those things. If they hit the same target, you're doing a lot of damage. Remember, it's 30,000 per, and so you're hitting 3 times, almost 100,000 that you're getting out of it. Well, with my gear anyway. So that's a lot of damage you're getting on, and it's an area damage. You can get a lot of concentrated damage on in an area. But yeah, I'm using shrapnel shot. It spends a lot of debris. I'm looking to spend debris. Wonderful. God Amongst Insects. I like this one. I'll explain on the other build. Master of Metal. I like it on the other build, but this one again, I'm trying to spend the debris with this. Using this, I'm always full of debris. It's a problem for me actually. Warpath. I'll talk about this later. I actually like this one very much. Polarity shift. This is really nice. I'm using it for this one. I'm having a problem with this, and this is the problem I'm having with this. Magnetic eruption does more damage when you have less than 50% maximum, but polarity shift says that debris spending powers do more damage. So you end up wanting to use magnetic eruption first to get the buff, but you're not getting the extra damage from having less debris. So you kind of don't get it on the first cast, and you might not even get it on the second cast. So I mean, ideally you would spend all your powers, then you would apply magnetic eruption, then you would drop down your debris generator, and then you would continue to do damage with your debris spending powers. The other option is Wreak Havoc. Yeah, they kind of just work back and forth. I'm not using Polarity Surge at all. Yeah, I'm not using it at all. It does a lot of damage, but again, it's not fitting into my build anywhere. I don't know what to do with it. If you have any ideas, let me know. And okay, so let me just show you the rotation, and it works pretty well. You want to apply that, throw out your scraps. I mean, you can also throw your dots out, spend everything you can, drop that down, go into your signature. You end up doing a good amount of damage. As you can see, let's drop that down as well. Again, eventually you do buff yourself with your gear, so I'm getting brutal for almost 500,000 damage on Scrap Saw. That is a lot of damage. You can get that 4 times in a row. Think about it. All right, let's talk about the other build that I'm using. So here I'm using magnetic distortion. I'm not using magnetic distortion. What am I talking about? I'm using compressed shrapnel. That's my main spender right now. And this is an entirely area build, as you can tell from my gear. I do a lot of area damage. All my gear is focused towards area damage. So my main spender is compressed shrapnel. Generally, blunt instrument, magnetic attraction. You could throw your signature does a lot of damage. I spend a lot of time using my signature. Storm of Steel reduces the cooldown on it, so I can be in it a lot. Warpath, you get more damage out of collecting debris, so you're spending debris, collecting debris. I was talking about how Master of Steel kind of prevents you from collecting, but you will get that 10 stacks eventually, and it does work out. Impale with Iron and compressed shrapnel, you're getting more damage out of that. So let me show you how that works out. Blunt instrument, throw some compressed shrapnel, go into your signature, getting a good amount of damage on there. And then as soon as you're pretty much out of your signature, you can go back to your layers, wait for a blunt instrument to go off cooldown, apply your layers again, blunt instrument, and that's pretty much it. You can time it so that you pretty much do your rotations at roughly the same time. That by the time you finish your rotation, your signature will be off cooldown. So almost probably a little bit slightly inefficient here, but I've gotten my TTK down to about 2 minutes. I think that's pretty good. Let's do some Cosmic Dr. Octopus. It's a good test. He doesn't really do anything crazy. There's no extra ads. Let's just see how this works out. Put on my layers, drop some debris down, come out of my signature, drop some more debris, compress shrapnel. See, it hits pretty hard. go back to applying my layers, go back to applying my debris. You can stun him. It's pretty good. And that was easy. And he has a lot of area effect. Damage. His clear is pretty good, so you can always clear cosmic bounties on a reasonable speed. As you can see, I was pretty much tanking him. He was safe. I don't even have my I don't have my team up summoned, so I didn't feel it at all. I didn't feel at all scared of what the damage is going to be out here. Of course, it's only Dr. Octopus, but I'm pretty confident. Alright guys, so one last test for Magneto, and a testament to all the area damage that he does here in Cosmic Midtown Manhattan. As long as I stay away from most of the action, I should be okay. Once I pop my signature, I can walk into the middle of it without any serious risk, and the rest of the time I could be standing on the outside and be popping everybody with all sorts of area effect damage. I can stun them, and as long as somebody else is tanking pretty much, I don't have any problems. I'm affecting everybody. He has huge area effect radius, so on everything pretty much. So if you want to buff that a little bit by using Dr. Octopus medallion, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but you could. Like I said, mental focus headband, you'll lose a little bit of damage on it, but you know, can't hurt. Yeah, the team's doing pretty well right now, so there's not really much to do other than collect the rewards.